What is up, guys? Eric here from Real Film Reviews, bringing you another movie review, this time for the new Key and Peele film, Keanu. Keanu stars Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele, the comedic duo that forms Key and Peele, and is the story of a man who finds a kitten and names it Keanu and really loves this cat until it is kidnapped by a bunch of gangsters, and then him and his cousin must then pretend to be gangsters to attempt to retrieve the cat. Now, Key and Peele had a really successful sketch comedy show on Comedy Central for a few years, and then they decided to cancel it because they wanted to move on to bigger things for themselves. And I think that this movie is the first step in the right direction for them. This movie is one of the funniest comedies that I've seen in theaters in the past couple years. Now, I know that that doesn't say a lot because we haven't had any truly great comedies, and I think the big distinction I want to make is this movie is just straight up a comedy. It doesn't mesh with any other genre. It's just a comedic film that's supposed to make you laugh, and I think that it does that quite successfully. Now, to start off with, the script of this film is probably the best part of this entire movie. It's first off a very funny movie from the script, but on the other hand, it's a very inventive story. It's very similar to Ted to me in that sense. Now, while Ted is not necessarily that great of a film, it does have some moments that are very funny, but the biggest pro that movie has is the fact that the story is something that's so strange and out of the blue that it makes everything else funnier. And I think that that's one of the biggest strengths of this film, because the script revolves around a guy whose kitten got stolen and he wants to get his cat back, and he has to go through all these insane situations just to retrieve a kitten that he had named Keanu. And I think that that is the strongest thing that this movie has, is this script that's so ridiculously weird, but it makes every situation even funnier when you think about why they're really there. Now, obviously the kitten that plays Keanu is very cute, and that will help the movie along, but this movie has a lot of good things going for it. The soundtrack to this film is actually really good. It uses its soundtrack very well to make comedic moments out of the music that you're listening to, and I think that there's multiple scenes in this movie that do that so well, and there's not many movies that I've seen ever do that before. This movie takes this music that is incorporated in these sequences and turns them into some of the best bits in the whole film. This movie is just very funny, and the other big thing that goes into how funny this film is how good all of the cast is in this movie. Specifically, Keegan-Michael Key really knocks it out of the park in this film. I think he kind of steals the show from Jordan Peele a little bit. They both have very funny moments. Everyone in this movie has some funny moments, but I think he really steals the show throughout this whole movie. He's hilarious in every moment where he's pretending to be Shark Tank, his gangster persona, and I think that he really is the core of this film and makes the whole movie work as a whole. The only things that I didn't really care for in this film were, there were a couple bits in the film that I felt dragged on longer than they needed to, and they lost a lot of their stamina and their momentum as the scene would continue to drag on with the same jokes. And it only happened once or twice in the film, but the two times that it did happen, I kind of was just sitting there, and by the end of the scene I was like, okay, I'm kind of glad that that scene is over, because it went on for a lot longer than I think it was necessary. And then the other only small thing that I think is wrong with this film is there are a couple long stretches where there's no references to Keanu, the cat. And as I said earlier in the review, the cat is what helps make the situations in this movie so much funnier, because you realize they're in these ridiculous situations just to retrieve a kitten. And I think that that is something that's lost at certain points in the film, because there are two specific stretches in the film where the cat isn't mentioned at all, and you don't see the cat at all, and it sort of makes you forget the fact that they're doing all this stuff just to get a cat, which is what makes those situations so much funnier. And I think if they would have just inserted a little bit more dialogue about the cat or anything like that, it would have worked a little better in those sequences. I'm gonna give Keanu a B+. Overall, I think for Key and Peele, this is a very good start to their career post their show on Comedy Central, and honestly, I think that this is one of the funniest films I've seen in theaters in the past couple years. I'd highly recommend to go check this film out with your friends if you want to go see something and have a good laugh. Well guys, as always, I'm Eric. If you enjoyed this review, please do like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought of Keanu, share everything we do here on Real Film Reviews, and I hope to see you guys later.